Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to continue talking about Jaydayoungan because this story keeps developing. Now, lately, we've seen in the news, Jaydayoungan's grandfather has stepped out there and told the story about what happened. He even described the shooter in this incident, man. And it seems like Jaydayoungan was ambushed in this situation, you know what I mean? And you've had plenty of people talking on social media, speculating about what might have went down. But from what I can deduct from all the stories that are out there that are official, is someone's going down in their city regardless, you know? Regardless of what Jaydayoungan had going on in his personal life or in the music game, you know, it seemed like they didn't lead up to this incident. It seems like this incident is because of some things that were going on in Bogalusa, Louisiana, where his hometown is and where he lost his life. Now, before we break down these clips of the news story about the details and the shooter and all that, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And man, let's get it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's look at this first clip where they first talked to Jaydayoungan's grandfather about the shooting incident.
There would be no stone left unturned until we found out who took him.
L.C. Jefferson says he's devastated at the news that his grandson, 24-year-old Javarius Scott, also known as Jaydayoungan, was murdered Wednesday night in his hometown of Bogalusa.
This is only what I hear.
Now, obviously, his grandfather is a bit distraught about this situation, you know? It's one thing to lose a child, but to lose your grandchild before you pass away, you know? And for his grandfather, you know, he gives a description of what he knows went down at that house. I'm not sure if that's his house that this took place at, if it was his daughter's house, or even his grandson's house. I know that Jaydayoungan's vehicle was seen outside of the house, and it was said to be that Corvette that you've seen in the video when people were showing the scene. But I'm not sure who owns the house or whatnot. But his first-hand account, or second-hand account, I should say, is probably the best information we gonna get. So let's check this out as he describes the shooter.
Someone came up from behind the house, you know, and with a ski mask on, and gunned them down in broad open daylight on a public road, a road that's a busy road. So people have gotten so bold of doing things today because they know or they feel like they won't be caught.
Now, according to his grandfather there, the person who was the shooter was in a black ski mask, you know, had the whole getup on, usually probably a black shirt or whatnot, and came from behind the house. So they either had to sit on him and, you know, camp outside the house just to wait for a moment where Jaydayoungan came out of the house. Because according to some of the reports out there, or I should say even rumors, Jaydayoungan was on house arrest. Like he had a house arrest bracelet on or whatever on his ankle. So whoever it was, they had to wait for the right moment for him to leave the house. Maybe he had a routine. Maybe he walked the dog or something like that. Or he would always go out maybe to smoke or something like that. You never know. And dude just waited for the right opportunity, according to his grandfather, to come from behind the house in a ski mask and shoot Jaydayoungan and his father, man. This is crazy, man, because he said it also occurred on a busy street. So the street in front of the house where you see a lot of traffic in that footage is obviously a busy street. But let's continue with this clip.
To his grandfather, he was just a kid trying to make it in music.
I remember when he first started his music. I remember him sitting out here 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, him and his cousin writing music.
Now that's crazy. So I'm assuming they're outside of the same exact house. And to think that you see them probably messing around, writing music and stuff. And most parents, they look at their kids, or even grandparents, they're like, all right, man, he's over there doing the rap thing or whatever. You never think they'll end up being signed to a major label, you know, get worldwide or even national acclaim or even regional acclaim as an artist. And people are like, wow, you know, to see that development, to see him become an artist, and then obviously to see him go through his trials and tribulations in the rap game, and then for his eventual demise right at the place where it all started, man, that's wild, man. That's crazy, man. That's a crazy circle of life right there. But let's continue through this news story and see what else he had to say.
The family confirms Scott's dad, Kenyatta Scott, was also shot. Police say he's expected to be okay. The news quickly spread, followers showing love online for the slain rapper. Police say they want to find the person responsible and say there's already been a number of shootings in the area since the rapper was killed.
Okay, now before this, what the story that wasn't being told is, after Jaydayoungan was shot, there were several shootings. Now, there weren't any other people who were shot and killed in the situation besides Jaydayoungan. And obviously, based on the story, his father's going to pull through because I believe he took himself to the hospital in order to be treated for his gunshot wounds. But, man, regardless, man, it seems like it's kind of crazy in Bogalusa right now, especially going into the weekend. I'd probably be out of town if I was anybody, especially, you never know what's going on. You never know what's going to any retaliation or anything after that, because this is a loss, man. This is a loss for their family and people who love Jaydayoungan, man. Now, what we're going to do next is check out this clip from the police there, and they're going to talk about all the details that they have so far on the case.
And a few minutes later, while my officers are investigating this scene, we had a call of another shooting across town. Later in the night, a few hours later, we had a third shooting. Where a house was shot up that we also believe to be related.
Police say no one was hurt during the other two shootings. A few suspects have been identified, but no motive or suspect yet in the case of Jaydayoungan.
Okay, so hopefully that didn't miss you. So there were two shootings immediately after Jaydayoungan's shooting. Now, they have suspects in those shootings. So when they say they have suspects that they believe, that they have in the shootings, they're talking about that shooting. But they also don't have any suspect so far in Jaydayoungan's shooting. So, which is wild, because when you hear that, okay, it took place at his home, it took place on a busy street, in broad daylight, you would expect there to be a suspect somewhere. But if the person took all these precautions to get at him, they might have took the same precautions to get away, essentially. Not to say that they're going to get away in the long term, because technology and things, we'll see how this goes, right? Now, let's look at this final clip about what's going down.
Family members say they hope the community will pull through for them and help to solve the case. In the meantime, Jefferson says he finds solace in the legacy his grandson leaves behind.
Looking at him and looking at the way he made his music and looking at where he come from, it gives other people hope. And his music gave them hope, but it's gone now.
Now, as you heard his grandfather talk, man, you hear the pain in his voice, man. And you hear him harp on the fact that Jaydayoungan does leave a legacy. He did something great that people in his local community can aspire to be and aspire to do. And that's actually make it in the rap game and the music game thus far, right? Now, what's wild is, some of that does end with Jaydayoungan, but hopefully he inspired somebody locally and they'll be able to carry the torch in the future and say, hey, Jaydayoungan was the guy who inspired me. Hopefully they can take solace in that. Regardless, it's a tragedy and a sad situation. And RIP to Jaydayoungan, man. And condolences to his family, because obviously they going through it, man. I can only imagine, Now, with that, y'all tell me in the comments, what y'all think, man? Do you think his grandfather pretty much laid it out and there's probably no more to this? Or do y'all think there still might be some sort of rap beef involved with this or something of that nature? Now, with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here, man. Peace.